Hey, what's going on? What's going on, everybody? Pardon me. Welcome to the FPF First and Goal podcast. I'm FPF Hall of Famer Brent Bodkin. I'm joined by seven-time All-Star Quaysie and Maule. What's going on? Thank you guys for joining us. Let's hop into it quick. A lot of stuff going on. Obviously, it's the home stretch for the regular season. The playoffs are going to start in about 2 weeks, give or take. So we're excited here, and so let's get to it.
Yeah.
Uh,
So let's start this going with Division 6B. As we said before, we're basically gonna be in week 14, so we're pretty much down the final stretch. 14 weeks this season, a lot of weeks, a lot of games, a lot of interesting things that are basically about to happen, especially for 6B. It's a bit more clear from the other divisions. Something that I kind of wanted to look at just right away at the beginning. As we said before, there is 12 teams that make the playoffs for this division out of the 18, and right now it's gonna be the Stables are pretty much the last team that's left. You have Towers FT that are 4-6. And then you have Stables that are also 4-5. But the only issue there is that if Stables pretty much lose their last game versus they're playing Balls Deep, that's 7-2. So if they lose that game, they're pretty much fine. They just can't lose by more than 33 points. So even if they lose, as long as they don't lose by more than 33, they'll win the tiebreak against Towers FT, and they'll get into the playoffs. So that's just kind of to.
Yes, again, the point differential, like you talked about, right? That's huge, especially here in FPF, because, like you said, again, not losing by more than 30+ points. I mean, that's a big, that's going to be a big thing. Obviously, I don't think the Stables, if they lose, are going to lose by that much. But I mean, you never know. Balls Deep is a good team, so anything could happen. So Towers FT has at least a little bit of hope still. But again, we have to see what happens.
Also, if Balls Deep do win this as well, they will go up to the first seed. So they'll jump all the way up in the first seed because they'll have the less points against. So there will be a 1, 2, 3, 4. There will be a 5-way tie. So as long as that's there, as long as they don't actually allow 34 points against Stables, and then they win, they'll jump up as the first seed as well. And right now they're in the 5th seed, and the top 4 teams get by, so they're definitely going to want to win that game, and they're definitely not going to want to allow more than. They're probably going to want the first seed as well, so they're not going to want to allow the 34 points. Sorry.
Yeah, and that's it. And you're right? Because with the points against, because if you look at the schedule, right, Balls Deep, they actually lost the passing CDs, but they have beat the Panthers, right? They haven't played. I think it's Emperor today, who's in front of them as well. They haven't played them yet, but again, they've and they haven't played also FC Bing. That's also something to keep in mind as well. So again, if Balls Deep wins because of the points allowed, they'll catapult, as you said, to first place. And again, the matchup between Balls Deep and the Stables is taking place actually, Chateauguay this Sunday. Sunday at 10 p.m. So that should be a good game to check out.
It's gonna be very good. Also, I just want to say for the people that don't know this, so if there's a 3-way tie regarding any teams, it goes. So I have it over here. If there are more than 3 teams that have the same amount of points in the standings, the following steps are taken in order to break the deadlock and to place the teams in proper order. So basically, it's basically points allowed. That's the first thing they do. And then they do points difference, and then they go strength of schedule. But it's points allowed. So. Because Balls Deep will have the less amount of points, they will get the number 1 seed because they're with the 5 tie in the standings.
Let me ask you quickly, Quaysie. So as a player, I was writing about this actually in my Division 2 article that I put up last week. As a player, like I hate that when you go with the points against. Listen, if it's a tie with 3 teams or a tie with 4 teams, if I beat 1 or 2 of those teams, I feel like, you know what, even if we're tied in points at the end of this regular season, I should at least jump in front of those 1 or 2 teams that I beat. I don't care how many points allowed, but points allowed matters. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying personally, I think if you beat a team and there's 3 of you that are tied for a certain position, whether it's 1st or 8th or 10th or whatever, if you beat 2 of those teams, I personally feel that you should jump ahead of them. But That's just
Yeah,
me.
I think it should be the same thing. I think if there's a three-way, so when there's a four-way tie and a five-way tie, I think it's more complicated. But if you're but even if there's a five-way tie and you're the team that beat all four of these teams, I think you should get that jump because basically say, okay, yeah, guys, we're all tied, but we beat all you guys. So
Exactly. That's why we play the regular season. Exactly, like 100%.
but again, this how the schedule sometimes build. Maybe some teams don't have the luxury of playing all the teams that they're tied with again. So you kind of have to put that also in the equation, So I guess it is the easiest thing. I guess I don't think it should be points against. I think it should be total because if you're a team that's scoring 40 points per game, but you're also if you're scoring points, you give the ball back to their team fast, right? So if you're throwing 40-yard bombs and you're scoring constantly, and it basically you're giving a shot to the defense to get back, so the opposite team get back the ball, right? So
exactly.
It kind of makes sense sometimes when you see these teams and they scored 400 points for 350 and they allow 2 something like in those high numbers. It kind of makes sense because they're giving back the ball to the opposite teams to actually score points on them, right?
So, right.
I guess that's also I think they should go points against and for, so like the plus minus. I think they should go off more of that instead of going points against, but maybe that's something to look forward into the future. So for the Division B, so again, just to kind of close it up, all eyes on Stables versus Balls Deep. 33 points basically that's the number that they're going to have to avoid. And then you also have a good matchup between Cougars versus Impact, the 7 seed versus the 9 seed. So that's going to be kind of maybe a switch between those two teams. Right now, Impact is they're in the 7th. Cougars are in the 9. So pretty much what's going to happen if Impact wins, they'll jump TD Blitz and they'll get into the 6th seed. And then if Cougars win, they'll kind of maybe jump into depends on the Spartans, but maybe they'll jump into this 8th or 7th. So nothing crazy, but that's kind of the most of the games that I'm kind of only looking at. And again, for the teams that are also wondering, what about big assets and bet the over, because they're also 4 and 6. Their points against is so much lower that the Stables are going to have no chance of even getting close to them, and Towers FT as well. So you guys don't have to worry about it. You guys are in the playoffs. Everything is fine.
Yep.
All right. So
let's go to 6A.
Yeah, 6A.
So 6A, we got one big matchup tonight. Actually, in Statty Bear, it's going to be Red Zone Buzz taking on the McGill Swim Team. McGill Swim Team, we were talking about it before we went the air. I mean, they're a hot team right now. They won 4 out of the last 5 games. Again, taking on Red Zone Buzz. So that should be a really big game tonight at Statty Bear between two teams looking to, improve their standings. Right now, McGill Swim Team, they're sitting in 4th in the division, and Red Zone Buzz, they are sitting 13, exactly, 13. So for them, it's big, right? So Red Zone Buzz, right, they're 2 points behind VDB Crescent for that last playoff spot, right? VDB Crescent, they lost to the McGill Swim Team in a game you were watching Monday night in Chattagee, right? So Red Zone Buzz has a chance with 2 games remaining now to not only tie VDB Crescent, but then to knock them out of the playoffs if they can win at least 1 or 2 of those games.
Yeah, exactly. So that's exactly it. So Red Zone Buzz has 2 chances to kind of get in here. One they play. They actually play Bum City, so that's a huge game for them right now. Bum City is the last city team, so they should be a winnable game. And they also play McGill Swim Team. They just cannot allow more than 117 points. So if they play they play McGill Swim's team first. If they lose that game by, let's say, 30 or 40, they just have to make sure that Bum City, if they get the win, they don't score more than 67 points or something around that. So I think they should be fine. I think, unfortunately, FDB Crescent, I think you guys are going to be in a situation where you're going to need Red Zone's Buzz to kind of drop the game versus Bum City somehow, and then let McGill Swim Team kind of take care of business. But other than that, it's going to be your percentages. I would say maybe 20%, if I'm being generous, for VDB Crescent to actually make these playoffs this coming.
Well, don't forget, though, because they played each other, right? VDB Crescent played Red Zone Buzz. Actually, score kept that game way back at the end of January in Saint Laurent. VDB Crescent got the 30-0 victory in that contest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they have the tie break.
There's actually a little bit of controversy about that. So it says 30-0 on the website. I can tell you it was not a forfeit. And I can't remember honestly. The end of January, I can't remember who won that game, but I remember both teams definitely scored some points. I was actually asked that by Maule about 2 weeks ago if I remember anything about that game. Honestly, I don't. I remember a couple of players, but that's it. But I know Red Zone Buzz did score some points. I can't accurately tell you, unfortunately, who won that game because again, January 27th is a long time ago. We are March. We're actually April 2nd right now. So my apologies, guys. I know Jeff in the league are kind of working with both teams to kind of get an accurate account because I uploaded the score properly. I'm not an idiot, but something happened between getting the score and putting it online because it was not a 30-0 victory by VDB Crescent.
Okay, so that's weird. Something happened like that to one of my games too that just didn't upload at all.
Yeah,
ended 0-0.
Technology, so right? Technology.
And this happened. So that's kind of. But so who won?
I'm going to be honest with you. I want to say VDB Crescent won, but I told Mo even when he asked me, I'm about 75% sure, which it's not nothing, but it's also not 100. Yeah. I think let me check that over here. VDB Crescent. So if I'm not mistaken, did they have him on the team? So I'm looking quickly here at the roster. No, I honestly don't remember. Part of me thinks it was VDB Crescent, but I mean, I'm not even 75 is too much. I'm honestly 50-50 on who won that game. I remember a couple of the players playing. I remember some big plays being made. But again, I mean, if you would have asked me like a week or two after the game, I could tell you 100%. But I mean, yeah. Anyways,
okay, so something I just have here, right? So I just clicked on it.
Right.
If you look at my screen, it says 0-30, right? But then you see first half Red Zone Buzz 25.
Exactly.
So you assume Red Zone Buzz won 39-12.
Yeah, and okay, so you know what? So I remember the quarterback, Anthony Caltas. I remember him. He ran a lot, and
But then it shows sorry, just to cut you off, the stats are weird because it says 4 for 8. So it's like the stats didn't fully. It's like half his. I don't think he went 4 for 8 for 31 yards, 2 TDs. The quarterback for VD Crescent 9, 22, 112, 2 TDs. That's kind of. I think that's more accurate.
More on par, yeah, exactly.
Unless Mo, who score kept this game?
It was me, actually. I score kept it.
Okay, because I was gonna say okay, then maybe Mo didn't put maybe someone didn't have their jersey, so he didn't get stats, and that's why it's kind of looking like this. But that's weird.
Yeah, I remember Backley Charles playing in that game, and Backley, like he's a really good player, underrated player actually. He got a lot of yards. And I remember Catless, the quarterback, he was running a lot. He did throw obviously because he has to throw here and there, but he ran a lot. And I remember being kind of a high scoring game ish. Exactly. 3 TDs on the ground. Exactly.
Yeah, okay. And the pick 6. Okay, numbers making sense. Never mind, makes sense.
Yeah. Because my Red Zone Buzz won that game. Red Zone Buzz won that game 100%. It needs to be updated on the site. So.
One that's 18 plus an error, 18, 36 plus converts. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay. All right. So there we go. Mystery solved. VDB Crescent, you guys are on the line. As I said, you guys need Red Zone Buzz to lose both these games to get in. But again, you never know. March is over, so we're not looking for any Cinderella stories, but we're in April, so we'll see what happens in April. Something also kind of look at. Big shout out to TD Brothers because they kind of took care of business on their last game. They don't even have to worry about any other teams. They don't have to worry about a tie break. They're 4-5-1, so they have that tie, which is the extra point, right? So they're pretty much in. They're fine. And then so pretty much we're just looking kind of at Red Zone Buzz versus Bum City versus McGill Swim Team tonight, and then they have to play Bum City after. And then the rest of for playoffs reasons, like for playoffs wise, everybody else, I guess we could have a couple teams that could switch into the standings. I'm just waiting for it to open up here. We can have a lot of movement again. There's a lot of teams like Creamsicle, Team V, Gold Rush, Miguel's swim team as well, LVL Jack Boys and 90 Classics. Nothing is given. LV Jack Boys could still finish the first seed if they actually win their next game. Yeah. Regarding Gold Rush could jump a couple spots. Team V could jump also could jump a couple spots. So like everyone that's kind of in the playoffs still could kind of make a couple jumps, jump down, come jump up. But again, what we're kind of looking at is the teams that have chances of not making playoffs and or have been eliminated. So Unseen, very good fall team, Vengeance, Mean Machines, Bum City. Congratulations, you guys had an okay season, but you guys are pretty much done. And now we're just kind of looking at Red Zone Buzz and VDB Crescent to see who's going to make the last team to make the playoffs. So we could look to see some playoff matches coming up the next week.
Yep, exactly.
Again, for the top 4 teams get buys as well, so a lot of teams are going to be still playing for something, especially the bottom teams, to see who's actually going to get that fourth seed buy is going to be pretty big, because right now it's 90 Classic, LVL Jack Boys, and Chamonix Chodes are kind of have the guarantee, and we're just missing for that 4th team to see who's actually going to get the thing. Miguel's swim team is the team that's looking like they should have it, but if they drop the next 2 games, they allow more than 47 points, they would actually drop it to Swift or WestJets. They'll take it away from them. So yeah, it's something to kind of look at.
All right, so let's hop over to 5B.
Yeah.
1 game going on tonight. Pasta Rabiat taking on Les Super Turbo Navettes. Field 3 tonight in Laval, 9:15 kickoff for that one, so that should be a pretty interesting game. So just looking at the standings right now. So the Super Turbo Navettes, as you guys can see at home, they're in 10th. Pasta Rabiat, I think they're out of the playoffs right now, out of the playoff race.
Who?
Pasta Rabiat.
Pasta. No, they're 7-1.
Okay, my bad. Yep, sorry, my bad. You're right.
They're leading the playoff races.
So I'm trying to look on your screen. Yeah, okay, I see they're in 4th place right now. Okay, so yeah, they actually have one game actually out of first. So Pasta Arabia is big for them, right? Because they have 2 games remaining. They have 2 games remaining, as do the Ducks, right? So that fight for first place is definitely possible. I mean, it's definitely heating up right now, right? With just a couple weeks to go in the regular season, right? Because I mean, one big game tonight. Even looking forward to next, like this weekend is a lot of games. Big TDs, no pun intended. Bullseye, Hard Knocks, Ducks, Diddlers, Gooners, Sourpuss, right? That's a Sunday. A lot of games coming up Monday as well, next Wednesday. So a ton of games, a lot of things to be decided right now in Division 5B.
Yeah, as well. There's no first round buys in this division.
Yeah.
So no one kind of gets a little break. No top 4 teams. Everyone's kind of season's done. You guys are straight into playoffs. So it's kind of interesting that there's no buys for any teams. Yeah. But again, I think this is probably one of the toughest divisions on who can make playoffs or not, because you have so many teams like Hard Knocks, Sourpuss, you said, the Diddlers. They're all waiting for games to be played, right? The Diddlers, if the Diddlers can win their next game, they jump out sleeping nobody, because they're going to beat them on points against, and it gets them a spot unless they played versus each other. The Diddlers versus sleeping nobody. Diddlers. No, they did not play versus each other. So there's no tie breaks there. It's points against. So they end up beating them out. But then you also have so many other teams. Sourpuss, if they get more than 4 games, they actually bump out Diddlers and Sleeping Nobody. And then you have Hard Knocks are missing 3 more games. They also are looking to expand and try to get some wins there as well, so they could get into the 4 or 5 point, the 10-point column, where that's pretty much what they kind of need to get into a playoff push or a playoff spot. So right. Again, a lot of things right now. We're going to be in week 14 for these teams, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. We have 15 games going on for week 14. So from Sunday all the way to Thursday, we're going to have 15 games. going on. So 30 teams are going to be still battling, trying to make a playoff push. And a lot of it's still going to be very competitive because a lot of teams are still trying to get into the playoffs here.
Yeah, that's it exactly. Again, every game is important, right? So especially for those teams with games remaining, like you're saying, right? It's time. There's still a chance not to move up the standings. It's also a chance to fall down the standings. So you got to make sure you take care of business.
Yeah, exactly it. I'm surprised. Are you? Question for you before we actually leave and go to Division 5B.
Sure.
Ducks. Right now, they're 8-0. They have 2 games left going down. They play the Diddlers, where the Diddlers need a win, and they play Pasta Arabiat, where Pasta Arabiat is 7-1, and the Diddlers are 3-5, I believe. Last time I checked. Do you think Ducks go undefeated, or do you think they're going to drop 1 of the 2 games?
I think they're going to go undefeated, and I'm going to tell you why. It's because of their defense. The last 2 games, I'm just going to do this quick math right here. So they played the last 3 games. They played Going Out of Business, Crash Out Boys, and they also played Sourpuss. Instead of doing the math myself, I'm gonna let my calculator and my phone do it. So just looking at the points right here. Yeah, even better. There you go, 48. Thank you. Charging my phone. Okay, so yeah, 48 points right over 3 games. So if you want to do the quick math, what's the average of that?
Of points scored, I think it's 18.
Yeah, it's 48 divided by 3. It's a math moment right here. Yeah, exactly. All right, so they've let in basically 3 touchdowns, more or less. So, yeah, 3 touchdowns exactly a game, right, over the last 3 games. That's pretty impressive defense, and that's the defense you want to roll into the postseason with. So to answer your question, I think the Ducks, because of their defense, they scored some points. In that time, they scored 26, 35, and 40. So offensively, they can put points on the board, but just as important is stopping points from being scored against you, and the Ducks are doing that right now.
So okay. I was gonna say the same thing. Their defense is really, they're really showing what they got. Again, 126 points scored on in 8 games. They played 8 games, 8-0. They only allowed 126 points. So they're averaging close to 15 times 8 is they're averaging about 14 points per game. Compared to the last 3 that was 18, so it's about 14, so 2 touchdowns per game. So they're kind of showing the whole division like who they are and what they stand for. And I think, as we said before, defense wins championships. So I think their biggest competitions is going to be Pasta Arabiat. I think that's going to be something that's going to be very interesting for them because they play the Diddlers, which they're not the strongest team, but then they're going to play a tough game going into playoffs. So that's also going to show us and also show them to see where they stand going into the dance.
Yeah. All right. So this is top Division 5A.
Yeah.
All right. So looking at 5A here. There are 2 games actually going on tonight, both at Steady Bears. So this should be good actually. Ambush against Mixed Mambas, pardon me. That's going to happen at 10, and then an hour later at 11 p.m. again once at a Steady Bear once again. It's going to be Reborn Prospects taking on Orange Crush. So 2 big games tonight to wrap up Week 13 for Division 5A.
Yeah. So other than those games, Reborn Prospects is 6-3, so they're kind of fighting to get into a higher playoff spot. Orange Crush is 1-7, so they're just kind of fighting, just kind of end a decent season. I believe as right now you have Deep Shots 3-6, Super Troopers 3-6, and Ice Up there is 4-6. So Ice Up can't move anywhere. They're 284 against. So they need basically mix Mambas. Well, actually, let me backtrack. So Deep Shots need a win. Deep Shots is officially out. They won't make it at 287. They're too hard. Super Troopers, they do have a shot. They're at 259. And the only reason why I'm saying these teams are going to end because I believe there's going to be a 3-way tie compared to with some teams.
For sure.
So I'm going off the points against and not to the head-to-head matches. So Super Troopers are 3-6. They have 259 against. So they need to win their next game, which they play. I'm just going to pull it up right here. They play Ball So Hard University. So Ball So Hard University. I think they're in the higher. Also hard. Balso Hard University is 4-4, so that's actually a very big game because if Balso Hard wins that game, Super Troopers are out. Deep Shots lose their game. Deep Shots is officially out. They can't get in. Even if they're 4-6, they have too many points against. 287 is too much unless they allow less than like 6 points. Let's just say their last game they play against Thunder Buddies. I don't think Thunder Buddies are only going to score 6 points against them. So I don't think that's going to happen. And Thunder Buddies right now, are Thunder Buddies at the bottom or at the top? Thunder Buddies are at the top. They're 5-3, right? So the Thunder Buddies are coming out to play. They're trying to win. They're trying to win some games as well. They're trying to jump the standings. So I would like to say Deep Shots are out. I would like to say Super Troopers are fighting for their life right now. If they get this win against Balso Hard University, it puts them in a situation where they become 4-6, and Balso Hard University becomes 4-5. And then if Balso Hard University loses again, that brings them at 4-6. But then again, points against Balso University only allowed 171. Super Troopers allowed 259. So right now, there's a difference between both teams on 29 plus 59 is 88. So 88 points right now is the difference, and one team has 2 games left, one team has 1 game left. So it's a big gap. So if everything kind of falls properly, I really think we have our top 16 teams already in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it. Especially if everything kind of falls like you're saying. 2 questions I want to ask you. First off, so we talked about, right? Mixed Mambas are taking on Ambush tonight. That's going to be a big game. 4-5 Mixed Mambas, 6-3 Ambush. So it's the final game of the year for both squads. Do you think Mamba can get the W and solidify their playoff spot?
Yes and no. I don't think Mixed Mambas. I think they're going to be able to score. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. I just think they're not going to be. I don't think they're going to score enough points. I think Ambush is going to score a lot of points in them, and I think Mixed Mamba is going to score. But I think it's going to end like 36-30, 36-30, around a score like that, which is going to give Ambush their 7th game, their 7th win this season. I think Mixed Mambas are going to go 4-6, but I think they're going to be fine going 4-6.
Okay.
No, sorry, because that's actually no. Sorry, I'm retracting here. I just realized something. Mixed Mambas. I think Mixed Mambas loses. I think Mixed Mambas because they lose the game. Ice Up jumps them.
Okay.
Because points against, and then you'll have Ice Up that takes the 16th seed, and then Mixed Mamba will take the 17th seed. I think that's yeah. And I think Super Troopers kind of screw up here, and they allow more than 25 points versus, here we go, Super Troopers playing
Balso Hard University.
Yeah. So I think Balso Hard University scores more than 25 points, and they kind of screw up. They kind of ruin their season like that.
Okay. So let me ask you second part of this question. Look at the 2 teams. So we talked about Mixed Mambas. You talked about them quickly. Freshman XL at 14th, and Balso Hard University, the team we were just talking about, at 15th. Right now they're tied with points. They're both 4-4. They have 8 points. When everything is said and done, again, both teams have 2 games remaining. Balso Hard University has Orange Crush, like I said, and they have Super Troopers. Freshman XL has Defina Devils and then the Pigeons. Who's going to finish ahead of who in that battle for the last couple of spots? Will Freshman XL finish above Balso Hard University, as it says in the standings now, or will Ball Hard University edge out Freshman XL for either for the 14th spot?
So they play. So Freshman plays Define Devils.
Yeah, Define Devils.
I think they lose that game. I think Define Devils take it. And then they play Pigeons. I think Pigeons at the bottom of the Where's Pigeons?
Pigeons are in they're in 12th. They're 5-4 right now. They're in 12th place.
So I think both teams go 5-5. Okay. I think they both drop 1 each.
Okay.
And they both finish 5-5.
So Balso Hard University, you have them losing to Orange Crush, or do you have them losing to Super Troopers? if you have them finishing 5-5.
They're not losing. They're going to destroy Orange Crush.
Okay.
I think, again, Super Troopers. I think Super Troopers beat. Wait. Before I start saying stuff, and then my math is not making any sense. I think Super Troopers win that game, but I think Ball So Hard scores more points.
Okay.
So I think Super Troopers go 4-6. Okay. But they allow more than 25 points versus Ball So Hard. So I think Super Troopers beat Ball So Hard. So Ball So Hard lose versus Super Troopers. They beat Orange Crush. Freshmen beat Pigeons, but they lose versus Defined Devils.
Okay.
Now I think because Ball So Hard is going to allow a lot of points. I think freshmen. Oh, wait, sorry. Ball So Hard plays Orange Crush, right?
Yep.
Or is that freshman? Yeah, so I think Ball So Hard jumps freshman because I don't think Orange Crush is going to score any points in them. I think they're going to score maybe like 2 touchdowns at most. I just think freshman's going to allow more points at that. I think they're both going to finish 5-5, and that's going to give Ball So Hard a better chance for points against right now in the standings if they because they have a tie record.
Okay,
because they're going to have a tie record.
Okay, listen, you heard it here first. Some bulletin board material from Quaysie. I know Kenny and those guys from Super Troopers are going to be watching this when it comes out. But yeah, you know what? We proved them wrong. Or, you know what? He was absolutely right. He called this out. It'll be interesting.
I think Super Troopers win that game. I just think they're going to allow more points than they should.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying for the defense. Because these guys take pride in their defense. I can tell you. They take a lot of pride in their D. So we'll see what happens.
Well, folks, the number is 25, right? If you allow more than 25 points, your chances. You have to win first of all, and you have to make sure that the other team has scored more than 25 points. And if they do, your season's over. So
that's it.
Prove me wrong.
It's gonna be interesting. Yeah, there you go. Exactly. All right, man. You want to hop to 4B?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Division 4B. What do we have tonight? One game tonight. Actually, tomorrow. My apologies. As Jean Vianney, it's the Ramfins playing the West Island Boys. So that should be a decent matchup again tomorrow night. That's at 11 p.m. tomorrow at St. Jean Vianney College. So I'm very happy I don't have that time slot to play tomorrow
Thursday night.
Yeah, it's good. Thursday night football. There you go.
Tua Army just got their pictures done because I'm telling you now, I've never seen this team picture before. So they must be the last team that got their pictures on the site. It has to be because I've looked at this. I've looked on this team a lot, and I've never seen a picture before. Their jerseys are pink. I'm not sure if you see it on the screen. I have it pulled up right now.
I got it.
Yeah, pink and black. They're way. I thought they were a bit older, but they're pretty much kids. I would say like 16, 17.
It looks like, yeah.
It looks like they're young guys. They got a close the Saritachi talked about that. Their last game was March 16th. So the reason why I'm saying that because they're the last 2 teams to play. We talked about it before. Their next game is April 7th versus Wen Diesel, and after that they play Les Tondeuses at April 11th. So they're the only teams left. They're the only team left to make the last playoff push. Yeah. Everyone else is pretty much done. No one else has a chance to make playoffs. This is by far the hardest division to make playoffs because you have to go above 50%. You have to go 50%. So every team that's in has won more than 5 games. And even at that, if Tua Army wins their 5 games, I don't even think they can. No, it's actually they can't get in. Sorry.
Every team.
They're actually.
The minimum is 5 games that you have to win to get into the playoffs. There's a bunch of teams with 5, but I mean even that right now is not going to do it for Tua Army. I don't think.
No, because they have too many points. Unless they allow.
Exactly, I was going to say that. Yep.
25 points in 2 games. And you're playing versus the highest offensive team, Wen Diesel, next week.
Well, what it has to be is they have to finish with less than 311 points allowed, because right now the Coconuts are the worst team defensively right now. The Coconuts have allowed 311 points. They sit in the 12th and final playoff spot. Tua Army not only has to beat Win Diesel and Le Tondeurs, which is a tall task, they also have to make sure they don't allow more than, just quick math, 311 minus 225, right? So, yeah.
Oh yeah, against Coconuts. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. So 75 plus 11 is 86 points.
86. Yeah, it's 86. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
so
So,
it's actually, sorry, just to say, I was gonna ask you, Brent, if you heard the thing, but it's not the phone, it's it's the laptop. So I'm just trying
okay.
to turn
Yeah, I
that
can
off.
hear it in my ear. Yeah, I heard it about 4 times in my ear. Yeah, sorry, noise.
Yeah,
Hopefully you guys can hear it at home.
yeah, I'm not that popular. Yeah, so again, I don't think Two Armies gonna beat. I don't think they're gonna beat Wen Diesel. I think Wen Diesel is gonna kind of. They're gonna put a. They're gonna put a.
A
They're
spanking.
gonna put a spanking. Yeah,
100%.
they're gonna put a spanking. It seems like Two Armas. This is their first year in this league with their guys. So I mean, it's still it's something to be. It's still nice. I mean, it kind of sucks as well because if you think, I think they go 4-5. I think they go 4-6. So the fact
Right.
that you're gonna go 4-6, you don't make playoffs is kind of unfortunate. But again, it is what it is.
It's not.
I think this is the kind of this is definitely Division 4B is definitely the hardest division to make a playoffs thing. The fact that you win 4 games, close to 5, you don't even have a chance to make playoffs. The fact that you kind of have to beat the number 1 team right now to even get a shot to make playoffs kind of also sucks too, regarding your scheduling at the end. But I mean, it is what it is, and yeah.
Okay, so one of the teams you mentioned are Win Diesel, obviously, standing in the way of Two Army. So Win Diesel, right, 8-0 right now, trying to finish their path to perfection. They have Case to 12 this Sunday, Stady Bear, and then 1 day later, next Monday, and Chattagate taking on Two Army. So I like the chances of Win Diesel to finish undefeated, but again, we're trying to see what to do in the playoffs, not in the regular season, because again, this is a team that is far superior to pretty much every other team in 4B and has no business playing 4B. But again, they manipulated the system. Not even manipulated it. They got their guys in and they're able to fit. So props to them.
Yeah, as we said before, if you do it works out, if you make a request to get a guy lower and it gets accepted, you kind of just go with it. It is what it is. If you get to a championship, it gets you a championship. At the end of the day, everyone's ratings are going to go up. They're going to go down the next couple years or so. So when someone goes to your profile and they see a Division 4B championship, sometimes you can't even see the ratings, right? Who had what or what had this. You're just like, oh, okay, this team, maybe there just was a Division 4B. At the end of the day, you just want a championship. That's how I see it. Like
facts. There you exactly. If you win a championship, no one can tell you otherwise.
Yeah, the more championships, the better,
Exactly.
One funny thing to say about that is, right, like, so I played on a team called I was playing on a team called the Brotherhood, and we started Division 5, I think, whatever, and we kind of went lower, and then people called us like we had a guy, we have one of my good friends, Saad Majid, he's our GM, so he kind of just makes everything work. He's the guy that wrote the emails. He made sure that our cap we always got in, right? So we never won Division 2. The most we ever won was Division 3 and Division C. And everyone B, whatever, that. The way our guys kind of worked is that we kind of were well balanced. We never had a guy that had over, 600, 700 yards, 15 touchdowns. It was very balanced. Even like this is me like peak, right? So this is when I was like super young. I was in uni playing uni ball. I was fast. I was strong. Like I'm still strong and fast, but I was not as I was before, right? I was a guy where if you give me a hook, I'll score 4. If you give me a hook, I'll score. I'll be able to score a touchdown. But like with that team, we were just able, we're balanced. So we didn't have guys that had huge stats. We were kind of all around, and our defense is what kind of made us win a lot of games because we had a lot of interceptions. And again, that was balanced. You had guys that had 6, 7, 4, 3, like that. So teams are always complaining like, oh, how are they always in the, or how are they playing Division 3 or Division C? But I've played on the Brotherhood for maybe more than 10 seasons, like 10. We've only won 1 championship. And that championship we did win, we shouldn't have won it. We got very lucky on a bad interception pass that Theo made, and then he came back on the field, made a crazy rushing touchdown, and then that's pretty much how we won the game. But we were close. Don't get me wrong. We were in. I think we went to maybe 4 or 5 appearances for championships.
Right.
And we've only won one of them. And every single one we've been to, we lost in maybe the last minute, last play, last 2 minutes of the game, last convert. It's always the last of the last. It's like comes to a point where you're kind of like, oh, are they gonna, or maybe they win here, maybe they lose here. Those are the games we lost. So I'm not saying like we shouldn't, we didn't belong in those divisions, but we didn't win all those. We didn't win all those championships compared to some teams. Some teams they stay in this division here and they're in it for so long and they just keep winning back-to-back championships. So
no, look, I remember playing. Sorry, go for it.
Just pointing it out, like, yeah, sometimes you could finesse the system, but sometimes it doesn't always work. Our people do complain. They're saying, why is this team in this division? It's because they're not winning championships. As soon as they win the championship, that's when they're kind of like, okay, you guys got to go up now.
Okay, so I'm gonna say a couple of things. So I played against you with the Brotherhood, I think once or twice, and I remember you guys, especially in Div 3. So Theo, so if you guys don't know, Theo OJ, a Hall of Famer, great dude, one of the best players who's ever played in FPF, no matter what position. But I don't know, you guys had some studs on that team, man. I remember Jamal, my buddy Jamal Gittins, he was on your team for a little bit there. You had Khalil on your team. I don't know, you had some Omar, you had some horses on that team. You had some horses on those teams. Shout out to Saad. I haven't seen him in a while. I haven't seen Saad in a minute. Fellow 49ers fan. He's a good dude. Haven't seen him in a while. And I remember writing for your division, and he would come up to me a couple of times and be like, "Hey, make sure to put this in the article. Make sure to put that." So good group of guys. Good group of guys for sure.
Yeah, for sure. The South Shore guys. We're all from the South Shore, so that's kind of how we all became friends. Saad was actually one of my coaches when I was at high school. Nice. But I think I had to go back. I think we had one team where I don't know how we did it, but we had everyone fit. So like our biggest issue is that we avoided the cap situation, but we had guys where it came to a point where like you can't play because he didn't fit.
Right,
so like
right,
we come playoffs where some guys won't play because some other guys would play in. So we kind of based it like that because we want everyone on the team. But I remember one year we had Jamal Gittins, we had Theo, we had Omar Jackson, we had Khalil Kerr, you had me, you had a guy named Jamal Henry, we had a guy named Reda, I forgot his last name. But we just had that team. We had guys that are in the CFL right now, guys that were top dogs in CIS. We had I don't know how we fitted that roster. We won 9-1, and then we ended up losing the 7th versus a team called Coyotes. But that's the only time where I don't know how Saad did it and how we finessed the system. But that's the only team I can say, that team, we had no business being in Division 3. We ended up losing in the semis, but we had no business being in that division. We easily could have competed in Division 2 and Division 1 that year. The amount of guys and talent we had was actually insane. And we had peak Khalil Kerr where he was taking hooks. You had peak me scoring touchdowns. I think I was rushing at that point at 1.2, so it was kind of like,
oh wow, okay,
yeah,
nice.
But so kind of anyways to kind of go back to Division 4B. Week 14, last week of the season, coming in here, 3, 6, 9. We have 10 games. Again, all eyes are kind of on Tua Army to see what they could do here. Other than that, everyone else is safe. The top teams are going to make the playoffs, and then they're going to go from there. I don't know if you have anything else to say.
No, I'm good, man. I'm good.
So we'll go on to the thing. Oh, I guess also something to say, Chattanooga Community College, unfortunately you guys finished 0-10 this season. So I'm not sure if there's any other 0-9 teams, 0-8 teams. I think there is. So maybe you guys won't be the only team that finishes 0-10 and you guys don't feel as bad for yourself.
Listen, man. So since you brought that up, I'll say it to these guys. I've been like on a winless team before. It sucks. It's like the worst feeling in the world. But they have, to their credit, they have been playing better the last couple of weeks. I think we've been saying that actually routinely the last like 3-4 weeks or so. They lost to Tua Army 31-30 a couple of weeks ago, and they lost their final regular season game this past Sunday, 28-18 to the notorious Wales. Listen, it's a process, right? Like when you're a new team to the league, especially young guys like them. it's a process. Use this experience, right? Is motivation, A, and B, figure out some of the things you guys did good. Figure out some of the things you need to change 100%, plays you need to get rid of, maybe even players you need to get rid of, and just build, man. Just build from here. It sucks where you're at now, but use this as kind of like a learning experience and a stepping stone. And make sure to come back. Come back in the spring season. Just a reminder, by the way, spring's registration is still open for the adults and as well as FPF Junior. So if you haven't registered yourself as an individual or your team, do it now because spaces are running out. So make sure to go to flatplusfootball.com to do that. But again, Chateauguay Community College, make sure come back and keep on playing because things will get better.
Yeah. Yeah, it only goes up from there. For sure. All right, so let's go to 4A.
4A, cool. No games tonight. No games tonight in 4A, but a game tomorrow.
No. Yeah. So you have Sleeping All-Stars versus CRA Bombers.
Yep.
Sleeping All-Stars are 5-4. They're fine. They have nothing really to worry about. And then CRA Bombers are kind of just trying to finish the season off strong. They're 1-7. Yeah. Something that's kind of surprising. So Voodoo goes on a crazy streak, and then I believe they dropped the last. They dropped the last 2 games. So they just lost this week versus Goons, 20-28.
Yep.
And I believe. I'm trying to look at here. No, they only just dropped that game. I think they were. What were they? They were 0-6 or 0-5.
So yeah,
and then they won.
I think they were 0-5.
Yeah, they were 0-5 and they won the last 4, and then they just dropped the last one. So I'm just looking at it here. They're 4-6. I'm trying to see if any other teams, if they drop any other games. So I'm good. Thankfully, because I actually like Voodoo. I like how they made the last little push. They're still they're still in it. They still have it. Oh no, sorry, they're not.
No, they're done. They're done. They play 10 games. They're done.
Yeah, I thought Nighthawks and stuff. I thought they had 5 wins. I was like, oh, okay. No, they're officially done. It sucks. All right, so I guess all eyes are on Sun and Guns versus Killer Rays coming up
next Sunday.
Yeah, this Sunday. Killer Rays 5-3. So again, they actually get, if Sun Guns could beat Killer Rays, they could get 5-5, 347 points. That's a lot of points, but they'll pass the process. So to be honest, Sun and Guns just need to win because then the process is 4-6. So they'll pass the process and they'll get in. So that's a playoff game. Sun and Guns versus that's for Sun and Guns. That's a playoff game. So the next game, Sun and Guns versus Killer Rays. That's a playoff game for Sun and Guns. You guys win, you're in. You guys lose, you're out. Regarding the other teams coming down, so we don't have any buys. Do we have buys?
So 4 teams first four get a buy.
Yeah. So we have the Predators, Balls Deep, Speed Academy, Les Petits Cahat, Trap Stars, Goons, 6-3, 6-3, 6-3, 7-2, 7-2, 8-1. Okay, so the Predators clinched the number 1 spot, that's for sure. Balls Deep, Speed Academy, 7-2, 7-2-1. They have clinched the 2nd and 3rd because they have the tie breaks. I wonder if that's the tie breaks against themselves. Yeah, they do. So they have the tie breaks against themselves. They have the ties between themselves. So right now we're just looking at the 4th seed. Who's going to get it? You have Goons, you have Trap Stars, you have Les Petits Cahat. Then you have Compao as well. Because if for some reason Les Petits Cahat, Trap Stars, and Goons all lose, I guess it goes points again. So the best person to have is Les Petits Cahat. So let's just go down here really fast. So Goons play the Predators. Goons play the Predators. So I mean that's not the best matchup for them because the Predators are 1, Goons are 6-3. Again, anything can happen. These are 2 high-scoring points teams. Goons scored 325 so far this season. Predators scored 331. Predators defense is a bit better, 195. How's Goons is 265. But again, I'm sure that's going to be a high-scoring game. Then you have Les Petits Cahat versus
Trap Stars. Versus Trap Stars. That's huge.
So there you go. There's another big game. The Petits Cahat do win that game. They officially will get the 4th seed. They'll officially get the 4th seed. If Trap Stars win that game, and Goons also win that game, it's going to be a two-way tie between those two teams. And again, it's going to be points against, points in for. So we're going to have to kind of see who scores more points between those two teams. Oh, less points, who's points against? Because right now, Trapstars has 257, Goons have 265. So they're only they're 8 points from each other.
Actually, you know what? So it's going to correct you on something. So if Trapstars and Goons win, they both leapfrog the Petit Carrots. Trapstars gets the tiebreaker, though, because Trapstars knocked off Goons 39-38 in week 12.
Okay.
So Trapstars would finish with that 4 spot.
If they beat, okay.
If Trapstars beats Le Petit Carrots and the Goons win their game as well. Again, the Goons, I believe you said the Goons are taking on the Predators. So if the Goons pull off the upset, then the Trapstars would then jump the Goons for 4th because the Trapstars beat the Goons head-to-head, because then it'll just be those two teams tied for 4th place.
Okay, so you have the tiebreak against them. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So there's that.
So a lot of big games this coming week.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have the bottom teams like Bandits, Nighthawks, stuff like that. You guys are all in. Nothing to worry about. You guys are just kind of fighting for seeding, going around for the last week.
Yeah. Cool. All right, let's jump to Division 3. So Division 3 is looking at the schedule. There are a couple games going on tonight. Actually, 3 games going on tonight. Barbecue Chicken, Beer Belly Brigade at Sadie Bear. And Lavelle, JYD, Junkyard Dolls against Prodigy. And then also at Sadie Bears, Nomads against Never Overtime. So those are some pretty big games coming up tonight. Actually, so there's another one as well. Sorry, so I don't know why this is not added to the week 13, but it's part of week 14 for some reason. Anyways, also tonight, 4th and Schlong taking on the Bullies at Stady Bear tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So 4 big games.
3 games.
Yeah, technically 4. Yeah, 4 games actually. 4 games tonight. It's gonna be 4 huge.
Games, yeah. Regarding standings, again, I'm just gonna look at playoffs again. There's so many everyone. So group winners will be the top 4 seeds. Top 20 teams qualify for playoffs. Group winners will be the top 4 seeds. Don't know what that means.
So, if you look right now, like if you look at the bottom,
have a group winner.
I don't know. That's a good question.
No, because it says usually unless it's a typo in the thing, because usually when it says group winners and it will be top 4 seeds. Yeah, okay, because usually that means they would have 5 teams in one division, 5 teams in our division. So I guess they just didn't maybe delete that. So again, guys, that's not a thing. Group winners will be the top 4. Oh, group winner. No, but there's no groups.
What the fuck? Yeah, so
I don't know.
I think they used to do this with the FPF Cup before they changed the format. I think what it is, so saying the 20 teams qualify for the playoffs. Yeah, so 1 through 12 gets a first round bye. And then what it ends up being is then you have 13 through 20 play in the first round. I remember this a couple of years ago. So then what it ends up being, if I'm not mistaken, would be 13 versus 20, 14 versus 19, 15 versus 18, and then 16 versus 17. And then
that's fine. I just don't get the group winners will be the top 4 seeds. So I guess the top 4 seeds are the group winners.
Yeah, because before they would have subdivisions. They don't. That has to be a type because I remember some divisions would have subdivisions. Yeah.
Yeah, so it'd be like 5 teams here, 6 teams here.
Yeah, exactly.
Like A, B,
exactly.
Okay, so they just need. So the people that are watching this, especially for Division 3, there's no group winners. Will be top 4 seeds. The top 4 seeds are the top 4 seeds in the rankings, right? So we'll just say it like that. And again, the number 1 to 12 gets buys, and then the rest.
Yeah,
are pretty much completely versus each other. So 13 versus 20, and then 14 versus 19.
Yeah,
and then they'll have the top. 15, 18, I think it'll go top. 16. And then one will play 16 after that, or whoever whoever ends up winning.
Yeah, whoever the lowest seed is that survives between the 13 to 12 matchup will then play the top seed in division in the second round of the playoffs.
Yeah, so kind of like what they're doing. Yeah, exactly it. Something to kind of talk about, right? So big fat bats are 1-7.
Yep.
They have 2 games left.
Yep.
They have one of their games. So I'm the one that score kept the game. They played. Did they correct? No, they played Bruins. Bruins end up scoring, going up by 4 points. I forgot the score. I think it was 20. I think it was 26-30 for Bruins.
Mm-hmm.
They went for two. They're going for two. The lights kind of went off. The game kind of got canceled. Well, finished.
Right.
57 seconds left. 57 seconds left in the game. Big Fat's Bruins are going for two for the convert. So if they get it, they go up by 6. Big Fat Bats have 57 seconds to score. Right. So again, that's something to kind of look at for the record. I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen because they still have a chance. If for some reason Big Fat's Bats lose versus Aesthetics on Monday, I'm not sure when they're gonna if they're gonna redo this game. Not redo the last minute.
Right.
If Sonics beat Big Fat Bats, it really does not matter because they won't get in with being 2-8. So I mean, unfortunately, you lose your last minute of the game. But again, it doesn't matter because they're gonna need 3 wins to get in, and then they're gonna need points against. They're gonna need less. Unless they beat. I don't know who they Prodigy. I'm not sure. They play. I'm surprised that's their team. No. So Prodigy didn't play Big Fat Bats. So again, it's gonna be points against, points for. It's gonna be how many points Prodigy allows the last 2 games. If it's gonna be less than Big Fat Bats, and then the Big Fat Bats get their last 2 wins going forward for that to even happen. So I mean, there's still that to look at. But other than that, I don't think it's gonna happen. I think we have our top 20 teams that are going to make playoffs. I don't think there's going to be any chance. I don't think Big Fat Bats are going to beat Stodics. I think Stodics are going to take care of business. So I think we do have our top 20 teams in for playoffs this for Division C. Division 3.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it. I mean, but the only thing I can think of again, you're saying the Stodics are going to beat Big Fat Bats, and obviously it depends what happens with the Bruins. I mean, Big Fat Bats are a veteran squad, so maybe they can pull off an upset. Maybe they can get the Stoics on an off day and maybe knock out the Bruins in the last minute, because that minute will be replayed. I've seen it tons of times before where a couple minutes it doesn't finish because there's something that happens with the field and some being replayed at a later date. So that's going to have to happen, because even if you look at it, even for the Bruins, right, that matters for them too, because Bruins right now, looking at this division, the Bruins, for some reason I'm not seeing them. I don't know why.
They're 7. They're right now. They're number 3. They're 7-1.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, okay. So there you go. Yeah, they're 7-1, right? So they have a chance as well. The Bruins, right? If they could win, they could leapfrog backfield penetration for second, right? Backfield penetration also has 2 games remaining as to the Bruins, but that game's gonna have to be replayed no matter how many minutes it is. It's not impossible. Yeah, it's not impossible for Big Fat Bats to catch Prodigy. Prodigy finishes against Junkyard Dogs and Rouge. So it's not exactly a cakewalk for Prodigy. It's not 2 guaranteed wins for sure. So I mean, there's a chance Prodigy can go 0-2. And if you're the Big Fat Bats, I mean, if you could handle your business and find a way to get 2 victories, you never know.
Yeah, no, exactly. I'm just saying it's less probably what's going to happen, but
yeah, for sure. No, it's less probable.
And also the issue is you need to make sure Bruins and Big Fat Bats play on the same day, so they don't have to come play a minute at a random field. For no reason.
That is fair.
They try to schedule games on the same day or maybe an hour between, so that you just kind of okay, guys, we're gonna do your minute quick, and then you guys could play your game right after, so you don't waste.
Exactly.
Well, there's also all that. Regarding the standings, I mean, I don't really want to talk about much now. I think next week will kind of be better when all the standings are kind of firm in and we kind of know who's exactly going where. Just one thing to say is that we do have a couple teams here that are still fighting for those top positions. Like backfield is trying to hold off Bruins and the Stodics as well. Rankings, I feel like is going to be a very big advantage here, just because Division 3 is so competitive, and I think you really want to play the lowest of the lowest until you get into the semis, in the quarters or semis, just because there's so much talent. I don't know if a lot of teams are going to want to play certain teams. So I feel like if you're the top of the seed, I think you get a big advantage of playing a team like F1, AF1, or
AF1,
fourth
yeah, yeah.
and our fourth and strong. Like teams like that are kind of like newish teams, but you don't want to play. I don't think you want to play a team like Barbecue Chicken in the quarterfinals as a number 2 seed if they jump like number 7 or 6. I think you kind of want to stay to the top so you get the highest at this point team going into the semis and find us going to the quarters and semis. Like I think you're trying to avoid some of those teams now. Like let's say if you finish second instead of finishing, let's say you finish 5th instead of finishing second. I think that's going to be a big disadvantage for you going into the playoffs.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, definitely 100%. 100%. This right now, again, it's the playoffs. You fought your way to get there. You try to make your path to the championship as easy as possible. That may sound like a cop out, but it's not. Like you don't want to play hard teams the entire way. I mean, yeah, you'd be more battle tested, I guess, but I mean that's what the regular season's for.
Yeah.
Try to get the easiest schedule as possible.
Especially for Division 3, it's one of the hardest divisions. So I feel like if you can get an easier matchup going into the playoffs. And yeah, a lot of people say, well, we don't want to play versus a team that's bad. Like, doesn't matter. Play your game, get your reps, get your communication with your guys going. If it is what it is, okay, if you guys do win by 30, you guys still win by 30, but you guys are still challenging yourself. You just have to play your game. Don't play their game. And you guys should be fine moving forward.
Yeah, that's it. 100%. 100%. Okay. So you want to go Division 2?
Division 2. Yeah.
Cool. So in Division 2, so the 12 playoff teams are set. There's one match going on tonight. It's the Vultures against KGP. It's a nothing game. I mean, guys are gonna come out just have fun and play some ball and I don't know, have some bragging rights maybe because KGP cannot catch the Vulture for the last playoff spot. But what I'm looking at, Quaysie, is right now just above those last couple of teams. Right, there's like a dogfight for. Just looking at the standings right now, there's a dogfight at the bottom of the standings in terms of the playoffs as it relates to the Party Ballers, the Silent Ticklers, and actually not the Party Ballers anymore, pardon me, but Diamond Bougie and the Silent Ticklers, right? They're kind of in the dogfight right now. Those two teams fighting for the 9th and 10th spot. And then you still have the Vultures, right? The Vultures, again, they're playing KGP tonight. Assuming they get the W, which I think they will, the Vultures have a chance to kind of be tied with those teams sitting at 10 points. And then, as you said, right, it matters of points against. I don't think right now the Vultures can catch anybody for like 11th, 10th, or 9th just because the points against are so many. And yeah, they're playing KGB, but KGB can put some points on the board. So I don't think that the Vultures.
Yeah, no, they're way too high.
Exactly.
They won't. They're not going to catch anyway. The Vultures are going to stay in that 12th seed. And they're just gonna they're gonna play the best team. They're gonna play the best team going into the playoffs. They're gonna get the number 1 seed. If they beat the number 1 seed, they'll get the number 2 seed. Like they're just gonna have to. Which is cool. I find that's like as a team like the Vultures, and depends who's there. But again, that's gonna be a scary team to play against. They scored 370. They still score a lot of points. They scored a lot of points. They also allowed a lot of points as well, but.
Yeah,
they have one more game versus KGP. I think they dropped maybe 40 points there. So they're finishing their season over 400 plus. So they're going to finish number 2 off of ECW, where Jeremy White had an insane season. So they're going to be the number 2 highest scoring point team, right? You play the Dirty Birds. You're probably going to play the Dirty Birds going into it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's just say the season ends today. Everyone stays like that. They'll play versus a Shake and Bake or a Kush or like that. That's an okay matchup as long as they don't play versus a very veteran, fast, competitive defensive team. So like I think Diamond Bougie is a very good defensive team. Mm-hmm. You have Infantry, very defensive team. You have Dirty Birds, defensive team. A lot of these teams I'm saying from the points against, but a lot of these teams like that. I think One Stop. So One Stop also as well. One Stop also has a very good defense team. I feel like if Vultures play any other teams that are not that good defensive, they're going to drop 40, 50 points of them. I think when you drop 50 points, as long as you don't let 51 points or 41 points allowed on you, I think you have a good chance to make upset, right? So for them going into the first round, I think they'll be fine. I think if they get a shake and bake or they get a Idaho Ute Pimps matchup, I think they're fine. I just think after that, they played Dirty Birds. I played Dirty Birds yesterday, I think, or Monday. Their defense, they have a good defense. They have the best defense in Division 2 right now. I think they picked AJ off like 3 times or 4 times. He had some questionable throws as well, but they're fast. All their guys are defensive guys. They don't have any guys that don't play defense. Most of their guys are tackle guys too. A lot of their players are Division 1 players, or they've been in the league for a while. They're a very good defensive team. So that's a scary team to play against going into it. But again, the Vultures have the fire ability to score. It's just I don't know if their defense is going to be able to hold the Dirty Birds or are a matchup against the Dirty Birds. But I think Vultures have nothing to really worry about until the quarterfinals. I think they're going to be fine going into the first round, and then I think it's going to be an issue. But again, like it's still a scary team to play against because they are the second highest scoring team that you're gonna have to face, and they're at the bottom, right? So it's kind of saying like, oh, we're playing versus the team that's the bottom seed, but they scored the second most points in our division. It's still kind of like, what the hell?
Yeah, listen, I mean, you look at it, right? I mean, there's no question, like you said, the Bucks can score points. We talked about it last week, right? They lost 67-63 to ECW, right? Jeremy White was phenomenal in that game. Ben McMahon was fantastic. You put up 63 points. That's not an everyday thing. And so actually, you know what? So I talked about that in my Division 2 article last week. So there was a bit of a group chat going on. It was myself, Jeff, Rob Campana was in that convo.
I think I read the comments. Oh, I read. Yeah. I guess you guys got a group chat going, but I saw the comments saying like, what was the highest scoring game in FPF? I think someone wrote that.
I think that was the highest scoring game in the history of FPF. I mean, I know we were talking about like there's another game from back in the day. I can remember what it was, and Rob was getting Eagle in there as well. But as far as I know right now, that 67-63 game is the highest scoring game in the history of FPF, at least in the last decade for sure. So we're gonna keep on combing through the stats to find out for sure.
I was looking to see, as soon as I saw that comment and Jeff tagged Rob, I was like looking the FPF record books trying to see how scored games, but I didn't see any.
Yeah, we'll try and have an update next week because I know there's a couple of other people that are joining that conversation to verify. But again, listen, 63 points is 63 points, no matter whether it's 10 years ago or tonight or last week, right? So, yeah, you're right. They can score, the Vultures, but yeah, they struggle to stop players. The one thing I want to ask you, though, about this team, right, are they different now, though, with James Drysdale? So, James, top 5 player, maybe even some would say top 3, maybe even top 2 in FPF right now. He missed a lot of the season due to like some work stuff, and I think he was banged up a little bit as well. He's played 4 games. He's put up 300 yards and 7 touchdowns, right? That's James being James. How much of a difference do you think he can make in terms of when they have to go to the first round of the playoffs and playing a team like the Dirty Birds? Because you talked about that Dirty Birds defense. There's Quay Johnson, there's Markins Valcourt, there's Matt Bond, right? I think Matt Bond actually calls the plays on their defense. Anthony Brisebois. How much do you think a presence of James Drysdale can kind of change that, and maybe we can see a first round upset?
I don't think he'll be able. I don't think it's enough.
Okay.
I don't think it's enough. It's kind of saying like Cowboys, right? How much can Lamb do versus I don't know. Name me a top 10 defense in the NFL. Baltimore. Like how? Like Lamb will probably go for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns, but they're still gonna lose by 20.
I mean that Prescott will throw about 3 INTs. So I mean,
and no offense to Benny too, right? Like it has to do with quarterback, but Benny's definitely gonna throw some interceptions there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
for sure.
He is gonna help them. Don't get me wrong. It's not like he's not going to make a difference. I just don't think it's enough firepower. I think they're going to need, they need an extra body. They need someone else on the other side kind of doing the same thing James would do, you know? So it's like you have one guy kind of going off for 2 touchdowns, but then you have another guy going off for 2 touchdowns, you know? Like more something around those lines to get them that upset. I feel like he, as again, to answer your question, I don't think James is enough.
Okay, fair enough. Looking at the schedule this weekend, so big game, one stop, Silent Ticklers. That's Sunday in St. Leo. Also in St. Leo, No Regard, KGP, 2 teams who are not in the playoffs, but maybe No Regard could get finally a win before they finish their season. And then Shake and Bake and Diamond Bougie in a huge game coming up this Monday in Laval. So a couple of 4 games left in this division.
Yeah, that's also something I wanted to talk about. One stop and Shake and Bake right now, they both basically need a win. Actually, no. It's actually they both need a win to get into the 4th seed. So right now, Infantry, we sit at 6-4 and the 3rd seed. If One Stop and Shake and Bake both get wins, they finish 7-3. They'll bump us out of a first round bye, and they'll put us in the 5th seed. They'll put us in the 5th seed, and then we will get the tie break between Fins Up, Idaho, Kush thing. What is actually insane is that if One Stop loses and Shake and Bake loses, you will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You'll have 6 teams that are finishing 6th and 4th. You'll have a 6-way tie between 6 teams, and then you go points against, where mathematically One Stop and Infantry should get the 3rd and 4th seed. But it's still kind of crazy to see if it ends up happening that way, that if a One Stop and Shake and Bake both lose, you'll have 6 teams at 6-4 with a 6-way tie.
No, yeah, exactly.
That's where it comes interesting, where you have instead of like going off points against, there's a different way to kind of see who's going to get in, who's going to get out. I'm happy that it's points against, because it kind of shows like our defense, 268. The Infantry's defense this year, 268 is kind of probably top 3 defense right now in Division 2. So like it's a good 1, 2. Yeah, we're top 3.
Yeah. You're right.
Like we're gonna finish top 3, because we'll Dirty Birds is 228. Then One Stop is 274. They have 1 game left.
Yeah, exactly.
Diamond Bougie 253. They have 1 game left. So actually, we'll probably finish top 2 actually, after Diamond Bougie play their last game, unless they allow less than 15 points. But
Diamond Bougie Shake and Bake, right? So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, so that's just something to look at going into the playoffs, where if One Stop and Shake and Bake do win their last games of the season, they actually jump Infantry, drop them down to the 5th seed, and they both those teams get a nice little bye going into the playoffs.
All right, let's hop over quick to Division 1. So it's pretty much most of the seasons are all wrapped up. It's just that last spot, right, for the playoffs, with you guys running twice. My apologies, and Blessed, right? Looking at it right.
So that's pretty much it. Mathematically, right now, Braves get the 1st seed. Party Crashers and Royale, they both have 2 big games. Again, they both have 2 games, right? They both have the tie breaks with each other. So they played versus each other both once, and it's a tie. So it's going to be really points against. Party Crashers plays Flag Moi, and Royal Lemieux plays. I have them opening up here. They play Brave. So again, 2 big matchups. I'm not sure Braves are gonna even bother bringing a roster, because for them this means nothing unless they want to fight for some All-Stars trophies, whatever. I'm not sure exactly. Stats wise, maybe they need a receiver to get a couple extra yards. I'm not actually sure. To be honest with you, I don't think they even risk an injury or anything like that. So maybe Braves are not even going to bother showing up with a team. So again, if Party Crashers get the win, Royal get the win, Party Crashers will get the tie break with points against. So I think what's going to happen is we're going to get Braves, Party Crashers, Royal, Flag Moi, All-Stars, and then Run It Twice plays All Stars, and Blessed plays
All-Stars
All Stars as well. So like All Stars, yeah. So Blessed basically has to beat All Stars, and if Blessed loses, Run It Twice gets in. And if Blessed beats All Stars, then Run It Twice has to beat All Stars. And if that happens, Blessed is still out.
So I will say that you guys are Run It Twice. You have the advantage because you guys are playing All Stars on Monday night, whereas Blessed is playing All Stars on Sunday, right? So
yeah, exactly. So we get to see what we need.
Yeah, you get to see what we need, see what you guys need, and again, like it is what it is. All Stars, the core of the team is over 35. They're all in their 40s, I would say, or pretty close to it, right? So I mean, maybe that's a slight edge, maybe. Back to back.
No, exactly. So so that's kind of what everyone's kind of looking for. Again, playoff breakdown. Number 1 and 2 get buys, right? So one thing I do have to say about Division 1 is that a buy is actually pretty good. You kind of want to avoid playing anybody the first round. If you can avoid it, take it, you know? So Braves Party Crashers or Braves Royale, it's going to be good for them because then you don't have to play the random 6 seed. You know, if there was no buys, 1 versus 6, 2 versus 5. Like imagine Party Crashers versus All Stars first round. Like that's going to I'm not feeling so comfortable with Party Crashers. We do so well in the season. We get we're rewarded playing All Stars first round, like sick, you know, like
that's it.
Not the best feeling. Again, All Stars can actually jump Flagmois as well. They're 3-5. Flagmois is 3-6. So if Flagmois loses to Party Crashers next week, and All Stars beat Run It Twice and Blast the next 2 weeks, they actually go up. Something also to say, Kevin Wyatt, he got suspended. So
really,
supposedly the suspension is 1 week. All Stars played Royal Lemune, and it's on the Instagram. Last play of the game. Jesse Dupree throws the ball to Mac Andre. He throws it back. They're kind of playing patty cake. And Marc Andre ends up getting a clean throw, throws in the end zone. I forgot the guy's name, Simon something. I forgot his name. He's a DB corner for Montreal. Anyways, he ends up getting a jump ball over Gabe Champagne.
Yeah.
People are saying it was kind of pass interference. People are saying it's not pass interference. Simon kind of put a hand on Gabe, kind of pushed him a bit to kind of get a little leverage. But I think it was clean. I just think Simon was trying to get established in his space. Gabe kind of had a little hand on him, and then Simon kind of pushed a bit. But I don't think it was anything dramatic on a pass interference. So after that play is done, All Stars are not happy about the call. Kevin Wyeth is not happy about the call, and supposedly Kevin Wyeth kind of got into it with a ref. The ref didn't like what happened. She wrote a complaint, and then all of a sudden suspension happened. So I'm not sure exactly how the suspension is working. I just know that Kevin Wyeth is suspended for my co-ed game tonight. So I'm not sure if that's I'm not sure if it follows the week, right? So if you have a game, let's just say he got suspended this week. He got suspended on the Sunday. If it's the whole week, it means you can't play the whole week. So that means I'm not sure. I don't know if that means if he's not.
He would then miss again because we were saying right the 2 games for Blessed. The 2 games for the All Stars. He would actually miss the game against Blessed because
exactly. But yeah, exactly. It goes the full. Yeah, exactly. So he might miss the game versus Blast, and then he makes it for the game for Run It Twice. So it's also something. It's something I'm gonna have to message someone about, but we'll see. That's something. It's interesting. But I just know I know he's suspended tonight for my co-ed game.
Yeah, usually when you get suspended, no matter what division you're in, it's for the whole week. So you're suspended for every single game, no matter how many teams you play for, like for that week. So it Samuel Lapierre is the guy you're talking about, right? That was the defensive back?
Yeah.
Yeah, again, I think he played for sure, but he's a good player. He's one of those guys. I remember seeing him a few years ago, and he was like new to FPF and phenomenal player. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So he's a young guy, but so there's just. So there's that.
So just looking at that game now, big comeback. I mean, it was 8-6 for the All Stars at the halftime, and then they put up 20 to the All Stars 12 after the break, which is why they won 26-20. Wow. Okay. Yeah, so like we said, all the playoff spots are accounted for, except for, again, Bless or Runner Wentz. Who's going to get that last playoff spot? I mean, good luck to you guys. Good luck to Bless. We'll see what happens. So let's quickly jump. I know we got to run. So let's jump actually to women's. I know we didn't have a chance to do really women's last week, so you want to be fair to them. Let's hop over to women's 2 right now. So 2 games tonight. It's I can't pronounce that. The Spartans, Spartiate, if you will, taking on ex-cons and Laval. So I have a chance to check that one out tonight. That's at 10:15, and at 9 p.m. Saint Jean Vanny is Cheetahs against Valhalla. I'm actually really looking forward to that game. That should be a good game. Actually, well, both games should be good. Yeah. There's also this weekend a couple games. Aces,
because right now.
Go.
Yeah, so right now, if you're looking at the standings, right, Cheetahs kind of dropped the last couple games here for themselves. Ex-cons are kind of on right now they're on a little push. They're 3 and 4, so they kind of have that. I think ex-cons beat the Cheetahs, to be honest with you. I think that's the ex-cons played Cavs. So they just beat the Cavs. So they have 3 games left. They play Spartans, which is probably the bottom team, Aces, and then UCAM. So to be honest with you, I think it's unfortunately for the Cheetahs. Hebrew beat the Cheetahs, so they get the tiebreak on them. So the Cheetahs played tonight, you said, right? Versus
Cheetahs against Valhalla
versus Villa. Right. Yeah. Well, that's gonna be a tough matchup for them. Regarding ex-cons get Spartans tonight, I believe, also in Laval. So it's going to be by you. They play UCAM on the Monday, and then they play on the Wednesday. They play the Aces. So they play 2 of the bottom teams. Aces are 4 and 4, but not bottom, but they play bottom and they play high and they play mid. Regarding the schedule. Right now, who do you think is getting in? You think it's going to be ex-cons or going to be Cheetah? Or you think it's going to be Cheetahs?
Because I think it's going to be the ex-cons. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I mean, even if the Cheetahs emerge victorious tonight against Valhalla, which I don't like the chances of them doing that. I mean, anything could happen. Maybe prove me wrong. Again, the ex-cons, they would points-wise. Okay, so then Cheetahs would have the point advantage, 8-6. But ex-cons have then still 3 chances, right, to get 2 points. And get into the playoffs, because again, ex-cons have the tiebreakers. So, I mean, I think ex-cons chances a bit more to qualify for that last playoff spot, just because again they have 2 games in hand on the Cheetahs.
Yeah, so they don't have the tiebreak. The ex-cons didn't play the Cheetahs yet. They have the tiebreak when they don't have the tiebreak. They don't have the tiebreak at all. So they do play Spartans, where that should be a win. To be honest with you. So I think after they get the 4 wins, it's going to be points against, right? So you never know.
Exactly.
If Cheetahs lose tonight, it's over.
It's over. Yeah. But I'm looking at so I'm just looking at the ex-cons, right? Because you said the first game, right? Part of me, they're taking on. Sorry, it's battling hiccups right now. So they're taking on the Spartans, like you said. But after that, they have to sit there down. That's going to be a bit tougher of a game. But then they play the Aces, right? The Aces, I mean, looking at your screen right now, the Aces are in 9th. The Aces are a 500 team. Not to say that they're not good or anything, but I mean, those 2 teams, the ex-cons and Aces, are separated by 1 game. So it's not as if the ex-cons are taking on like the Saint Laurent Patch or something like that, right? Or one of the top teams. That's why I'm saying I like the ex-cons' chances of getting in the postseason a bit more than the Cheetahs.
No, for sure. I also want to give a shout to the Crocs. You guys finished 10-0 this season. I personally didn't think you guys were going to finish 10-0. I thought starting this season you guys would have been about a 6-4 team, but prove me wrong. You guys do what you got to do. You're going now. Right now, you guys are coming off a 10-0 season. Congratulations. Not a lot of FPF teams could say that they went 10-0. Now you guys have to go out and win a championship. So it's not done. It's not done yet. You have a target on your back now. So just goes to show that a lot of people are going to want to beat you guys. No team also wants to make a team go 10-0 and win the championship. So they're like, oh, we went undefeated and we won the championship as well. So you have a lot of teams that are gonna try to want to beat you, especially like Patriots, Vala, Chaos, Hebu, UCAM. You have all those teams are gonna be on your back. You guys do get a first round bye as well, so you guys probably going to have an easier matchup going into the second round. But it's going to be a very interesting playoffs. It's going to be interesting playoffs when we're coming down to it after week 14.
Yeah, that's it. No, 100%, 100%. So just looking at something right here. Actually, well, it's more for women's one, but anyways, yeah. Listen, a lot of big games coming up for women's two here. So again, S-Cons try to punch your ticket to the playoffs. Cheetahs try to do the same, and again, all these other teams jockeying for positioning. Now's the time, right? And again, like I said, congrats to the Crocs, 10-0. That's impressive. No matter what division you're in, you finish undefeated. Props to you, ladies, for sure. Okay, so let's hop over to women's one.
So let's go to division women's.
Yeah,
I have it popped up already.
Yeah. So Sub-Zero against the Blues. I don't know if they're going to redo that game from Monday night because it's not updated. At least the score, it's not uploaded, I should say.
Yeah, so I think what usually happens is I think the Blues had a tournament that weekend, so I think maybe they had some banged up girls. Okay. I know a lot of times they try to reschedule games after doing a tournament all weekend, right? So you play Saturday, Sunday, I think like that, and then you have to play the Monday. It's not the best thing, and maybe some of these girls are also in school as well. Sometimes the schedules are not
very true.
They don't really help. I know that's a game that we kind of were looking forward for it to kind of watching to kind of see. Who's going to win that game. So, but unfortunately, it did not get played. So, well, we'll see. We'll see what we can do. Going into week 14, you have Cayenne versus Les Bleus. That's going to be a good game. Then you have, that's pretty much it. You have Red Wings versus Cayenne versus Red Wings, and then Red Wings versus Hibu. So, I mean, no disrespect to those teams. Right now, we're kind of looking at the higher teams when they play versus each other. Just also, Cayenne versus Les Bleus is kind of like a rematch, kind of to see who's better. I know Cayenne right now dropped down a bit. I thought Cayenne was going to be the top two teams regarding with Sub-Zero. So I thought it was going to be Sub-Zero Cayenne. So the fact that right now they're at number 4 spot, it's alarming a bit. They do play 3 games next week, right? So the last 3 games is basically they play the 6th, the 7th, the 9th. They play Red Wings twice, so that should be 2 Ws, and they play Les Bleus, which also could be a big W. So if they end up winning those 3 games, which 2 games for sure they should, and if they get the third, they most likely would probably jump up into the. Oh, sorry, wait, yeah, they probably could. If they beat Les Bleus, they will probably jump into the 2nd seed as well. They'll finish 7-3, and then Bleus, depending on the Sub-Zero game as well. So that's a lot of things to kind of look at. But they could make their jump to the 3rd seed and maybe the 2nd seed if they do win their last 3 games of the season. Something also note to say. Hopefully, sorry, go.
I was going to say it's going to be interesting to see, right? I mean, they say Cayenne 3 games left, Red Wings 3 games left, and you say Cayenne again. If they could win out, they have a chance, like you're saying, at least to jump. They can't finish first, but they have at least a chance to kind of take sole possession in 2nd place.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So a big week 14 to kind of see how the standings go. Again, for playoff breakdown, number 1 and 2 do get buys. So again, it's gonna be pretty nice to have. And especially for the sub. One thing I have to do say is like UQAM's actually being very surprising. I know they do a tournament every month, and I saw UQAM beat Les Bleus, and for them it was like a huge game that they won. So just goes to show if they could beat them at a tournament over there, they definitely could beat them in a playoff game over here, right? So the top 4 teams, Sub-Zero, Les Bleus, UQAM now, Cayenne, it's gonna be interesting on how the standings are going to go, who's going to finish that first, who's going to finish that second, because going into that second round I don't think after the 1st and 2nd seed get placed, 3rd versus 4th, I don't think they should have a problem versus Hibu or Red Wings, but going into the semis, when you have Sub-Zero versus Cayenne or Sub-Zero versus UQAM, I think that's going to be very interesting, or Les Bleus versus UQAM, it's going to be very interesting, the top 4 teams going into the second round, who's going to be, because again, you never know if you get like a Sub-Zero versus a Cayenne first round going into the semis, that a lot of times that could have been a finals appearance, so it's going to be interesting to see how the end of the season does end up happening and where everyone actually stands.
Definitely. I mean, that's it. I will say, sorry, quickly for the Red Wings. I know we said 0-7 right now. chances are they're probably not going to win a game. I've had a chance to score keep a couple of the games over the last month or so. These ladies are trying. They're trying their best. They're trying hard. There's no quit on their team, even when they're down by a lot. The last game I scored kept for them was in Laval. Wow, yeah, that was all the way back on March 15th, actually, against Les Bleus. It was a 47-0 slaughter by Les Bleus over the Red Wings. But, I mean, those ladies are trying, and they're getting better. So, again, that's another thing like we're saying before. Probably not going to get a W this year, but ladies come back and play, continue to get better. There's a lot of good athletes on that team, so hopefully they'll come back in the spring season and try to build off of some of the positives they got from this season.
Yeah.
Okay.
Brent, can you still see me?
Yeah, I can, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so let's go to 5v5.
Yeah. So recreational right now, I'm looking at it right here. No games tonight. One game Monday. Green Monsters. No, that is happening again. Okay, so Green Monsters against First Down Snifflers. I did that game last Monday in Saint Laurent. They're playing this coming Monday, so a rematch. Study Bear, yes. Tuesday, Pass Holes, Green Monster. Next Wednesday, so a week from now, Mercenaries, Trapstar 5. And then Trapstar 5s take on Zaro to close with the regular season next Thursday. Funny story, I'll tell you super quick. I know we're short for time. So I did the game in Saint Laurent against First Down Snifflers, an 18-18 tie against Green Monsters. There's a dude playing for Green Monsters. He's number 97, and his name is Rod Charles. This guy, big dude, big brother. He has a lot of good size. You can tell he works out in that. He has some speed too to go along with the length. This guy came to the game and played in the game with. I'm trying to look at the team picture right now. If you can see it, no, you can't see what he's wearing. He had on football pants. Like tackle football pants, and my man had the pads in the pants. He had on the pads for your quads, the pads for your knees. I didn't see any hip pads, but yeah, he came and he balled. And I remember talking to two of the officials, and I'm like, I didn't notice the pads at first. I'm like, this guy's a genius, because I'm like, it's hard to find shorts with full pockets, and obviously you need that for FPF. But like football pants, they're tough. You can stretch, you can move around them, obviously, because you can play football in them, right? Hence why they're football pads. I have no idea why he had the pads. I asked a buddy of mine, Darnell Kevitz Riley, he plays on the team. He was injured. He didn't play on Monday. And I asked him, what's going on with number 97? He goes, I don't ask questions, man. I don't ask questions. He goes, I have no idea why he's wearing the pads, but he's making plays, so it's all good. And I was like, you know what? 100%, dude. Just want to give a shout out. I was on the sideline with Gigi, so obviously you play with Gigi with Dominoes. I want to say that the pads are Gigi approved. Gigi approved 100%.
All right, at least there's that. Gigi approved. I mean, it can't be that bad.
Exactly. I was like, I've seen a lot of things in FPF in my time playing and doing the media side as well, but I've never seen someone wear like football pads and like football pants. It was fun. It was fun.
Yeah, it's new, right? It's you get to see something every week.
There you go. Okay, so intermediate is done. We did the upcoming games for intermediate. Let's jump over to. I had synced this up on my screen, and now, of course, it's not there when I need it.
We just did rec.
Yeah, so we did rec. Let's jump. Yeah, intermediate. So the games coming up for that.
So you have Five Guys versus Primal, Quebec U16 versus the Blue Dry Gamos. There's not a lot of interesting games. As again, CTE finished their season 5-5. It's kind of go back to last week. We were kind of saying, so their season is pretty much done. Now they're just kind of waiting. Everyone makes playoffs as well, so everyone's kind of waiting. A lot of the teams that are done their season, they're kind of waiting for that. Five Guys versus Primal is going to be a pretty good game, and then you have Primal versus X-Men as well. That's going to be a pretty good game to kind of just end the season, both those teams, to kind of see exactly where they stand, especially for Primal, because they'll be playing 2 games. They're playing on Sunday, April 6th, and then they're going to be playing Wednesday on April 9th. So they're going to get to, again, you get to establish to see where they're at to end the season, how they're going to end their season on their records as well as too.
Okay. Let's jump over quickly to competitive. No games tonight. Sunday is Team Quebec U18B against Team Quebec U18A. So that should be actually a pretty exciting matchup between guys that are competing to play pretty much on the same team. Flagmont Sac against Team Quebec U18B. That's also taking place Sunday. So two games in a row for Team Quebec U18B. Then you got the Braves against Vengeance. So 2 veteran teams going at it on Monday night in Laval. And then Friday night, to close the regular season on April 11th, we have Veterans taking on the Jamesons.
Yeah. So again, a couple big games here, right? Because there's a couple buys that are both teams. So there's no buys.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just 1 versus 8. Again,
Yeah,
the top two teams, you kind of get a little. You basically top two teams get a buy because you're playing versus the U18 Quebec teams. But if you're in the middle of the pack, if you're Jameson's right now, you might be playing Party Throwers first round, and if you're the Rose, you might be playing Braves the first round. So it's gonna be very interesting on how the teams are gonna end up finishing. I believe for the Roos, our mathematically we probably play Jameson's are the Braves, I believe, coming into the playoffs. So it's gonna be very interesting for us. And then the opposite team plays Party Throwers. So again, when you're in the middle of the pack, it's not the best comfortable thing because again, like for me, I wouldn't even want if I was one of the tops, if my team was one of the top teams, I would rather play Team Quebec 18, so we get a nice little easiest buy, and then we get ready to our matchup. Some of these teams are not even going to get a chance to get into the semis because they're going to get knocked out by the competition in the middle of the pack.
Yeah. Well, don't forget. So in competitive, there's no buys at all, right? So like it's 1 versus 8, 2, 7, 3, 6, and 4, 5. So like I said, obviously teams are trying to jockey for position. And yeah, if you're 5-1 sack, yeah, you'd rather play Team Quebec U18B or Team Quebec U18A in the first round versus playing a Party Throwers or Rules like you're talking about.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So it's gonna be interesting coming down. Like to be honest, like last last season, you had Roos versus Braves into the finals, and you might have them in a first round matchup. So it just kind of goes to show sometimes winning games in the season is a big difference between losing them.
Okay, let's go to Co-Ed 3 super quick. Let's look at the upcoming games. So Co-Ed 3. There is one game tonight. Flamingos against Montreal Dragons. That's in Laval. So I'm scorekeeping now myself. That'll be in Laval tonight at 10:15. This Sunday, Legueras of Pamplemousse against B&Gs. Montreal Dragons again. They're playing tight ends on Tuesday. Also on Tuesday is Legueras of Pamplemousse again against Ghosted. Next Wednesday, a week from now, Hot Wings against Legueras of Pamplemousse. Legueras of Pamplemousse are like KGP. Like they have all these second half of the season games. So they're playing again third game in about 4 nights. So again, you're playing Hot Wings, and then it finishes off the regular season Thunder Villains and tight ends next Thursday, and then anything against Balls and TDs next Thursday.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of interesting matchups. We also still have playoffs chances for a lot of these teams. Tight ends still have a chance to get in. Hot Wings still have a chance to get in. Gold Diggers, unfortunately, you guys are officially knocked out. You guys have way too many points again. So that finishes 2-8. So, but I mean, it's still the playoffs. The playoffs are still open up. You have teams that are kind of clunched in as much, like anything Balls, TD, Thunder Villains, Dream Killers. All those teams, you guys are good. If you look at the bottom, like Ghosted and Vicious and Delicious and Pam, So those two teams there, those are the kind of teams that are kind of at the bottom looking at them. But again, playoffs are still it's still big. It's still a good chance for tight ends and Hot Wings. Your season's not over. You guys just need to win the next 2 games or next game coming up.
Very cool. Quickly, Co-Ed 2, 1 game tonight. Tonics against McNuggies. That's in Laval. 10:15 tonight. Balls Deep Tonics Sunday. Also Sunday, Crazy Frogs, Mean Machines, McNuggies, Purple Blood, no pads, no helmets, just balls taking on Team Rocket. Monday night, LDN against no pads, no helmets, just balls. Who's going to carry the boats taking on the Westies? Also Monday, it's a lot of games actually. Chef Bandits, Ghostbusters. They Rancor, Mean Machines. Wednesday, Mean Machines, Venom, Red Zone, Chief Bandits. And then Thursday, Ghostbusters, Daycare. And then Red Zone against Flag Force 1 to finish off the regular season. So a ton of games between tonight and next Thursday. So over the course of 8 days, there's a ton of games. So make sure to look out for those ones. Because again, the standings, everything matters, right? All the victories, all the ties, all the losses matter. So for the teams looking to get into the playoffs, make sure you do what you need to do to get in.
Yeah, that's exactly it. As I said before, there's a lot of teams that are in, and there's a lot of teams that also have chances to still be in, being a 2-7 record, like Flag Force 1, Purple Blood. A lot of those teams still have chances to get in. So same thing for Ghostbusters. So finish your season strong, win as many games as you had. Don't realize if you guys are 2-6 or 2-7 and you guys don't think you have a chance. Make sure you guys are looking at your schedule because we're going into week 14 this week. We're in week 14 coming in this week. So a lot of teams, sometimes I know some teams don't even realize that they still have a chance to get into playoffs. So make sure you guys are checking your schedules. Make sure you guys are checking the standings. Are listening to us because we give out some good information. Sometimes it's not the best information. Sometimes we have to go back, but
that's the best.
A good amount of the times we know what we're talking about.
All the time, it's the best, 100%.
We'll go into co-ed 1 to finish it off.
Yep, 2 games tonight. So you're playing Dominoes, Easy Fun, Statty Bear, and then the merge against Bad and Nice Try, also at Statty Bear tonight.
Yeah, so there's two games tonight. For us as Romano, Dominoes versus Devayu is kind of stat game. A big fan. I want to give a shout out to Fit Squad. You guys were the bottom of the team. You guys are making a crazy pushback, and you guys literally hold your playoffs in your hands, right? So Fit Squad is 4-5. Hush Mazones are 4-5. The winner of that game gets into the playoffs. So if Hush Mazones lose that game, they finish 4-6. And they're out of the playoffs. If Fit Squad loses that game, they finish 4-6, and they pretty much they'll be pretty much out of playoffs unless So they'll be pretty much out of playoffs unless Kiss My End Zone somehow drops their game and allows a shit ton of points.
Yeah, pretty much. And then finish out the regular season, like I said, Hushman's Fit Squad, Party Mix against Kiss My End Zone, and then the merge against the Monarchs is the absolute final game this Sunday for the week 14 and for the regular season for Co-Ed 1.
Also, a shout out to Plenty of Fish beating the merge, ending their perfect season. They're 7-0, now they're 7-1. So they're kind of getting back into reality. The IG team has taken the number 1 seed. Again, the merge still has a good chance to get back into that number 1 seed, but they have to win at least. They have to win their last 2 games actually to kind of go in because they won't get that tie break. The merge and IG team didn't play for each other, so the IG team will beat the tie break with the points against between the merge. So they kind of have to win the next 2 games to finish the first seed. And again, no teams get buys, so it doesn't really matter as much how good Co-Ed 1 is, but it's still nice to finish in the standings as the number 1 seed.
Definitely. And like I said, in that victory for Plenty of Fish over the merge, 43-26, Maule 6 TD passes, only 6 incompletions. Good job for her. And I don't want to say old man, but Dylan Taylor, main man, I'm going to see him tonight. He's roughing 9 catches, 140 yards, and 3 TDs for a guy that most people think is a quarterback, and he is a quarterback. But Dylan Taylor showing out as a receiver. Good job on him as well.
Yeah, no, yeah. They had a huge game for them.
Yeah. All right. So I think that does it. I think we covered every single division. We did 5-on-5, all the men's, all the ladies. We will get to our All-Stars next week, hopefully. Time is of the essence.
Yeah, exactly. So what we also might do, maybe when we'll have it broadcasted between the podcast, maybe me and Brent will be on a call between us two and kind of have our picks, and then we'll have it posted for you guys too. That's also an option that could also be done as well.
All right. So yeah, that pretty much wraps it up for this episode. Again, thank you guys for tuning in. We would not be here without you guys. Thank you to our main man, Ali Reza, who's our producer. He's talking to us in our ear, keeping us on track. Once again, spring registration is still open for adults and for kids. So go on to flagplusfootball.com, register yourself as an individual or register your team. And don't forget to like and subscribe on the Flag Plus Football YouTube channel. Like and subscribe for our podcast. We're almost at 1,000 followers, 1,000 subscribers. So keep on liking, keep on subscribing. He's Quaysie, I'm Brent. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.